Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. It started at Cindy's backyard barbecue on a Sunday, hot enough that the cheap plastic forks bent under the ribs. We'd been married 9 years. I was working the grill because Darren, her husband, always burned the chicken and I hate wasted food. Tessa stood with a group near the patio table. Cindy, 2 neighbors I barely knew, and one of Darren's co-workers who spoke in hashtags. I heard them laugh, all at once. Then Tessa lifted her plastic cup and announced, "Ethan is great with tools as long as they come with instructions and crayons." Head swung. A few soft laughs. Then louder when she smiled, that easy, practice smile. She delivered it like a toast. I saw Cindy's mouth twitch like she wanted to stop it. Then she decided to ride the wave. I flipped a chicken thigh and said nothing. I don't spook easy, but I clocked it. I've been the straight man to her jokes plenty of times, but that one had teeth. 10 minutes later, Darren called, "Chef, the ladies want to know if you can handle spicy or if we should call the kids' table." I slid the tongs onto the edge of the grill and turned. "I'll manage." I read the crayon label. I gave the line right back, quick and flat, like I was amused. Tessa lifted her eyebrows and wiggled the cup. "See? He can take a joke." That night, while I scrubbed the marinade off the grill grate, the line kept looping. Instructions and crayons. Mild, right? Only the way she aimed it felt pointed. Still, I let it drop. You don't go to war over plastic forks. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have set the house rules right there, over the sink, with smoke still on my shirt. The next Friday, we met friends at a small brewery near the stadium. Long communal tables, chalkboard menu. The whole, were quirky, on-purpose vibe. Mark from my shop brought his girlfriend Paige, and there were 2 or 3 folks from Tessa's Pilates class. We grabbed a table. Tessa kissed my cheek, light as a receipt, and sat across from me. A guy slid next to her, Trent, the hashtag guy from the barbecue. He leaned in. "So, Tessa, did Ethan study architecture?" Dude's precision on that grill was legit. Like a surgeon. She chuckled. "He's great, once you explain things slowly." Paige's eyes flicked to me. Mark blinked, reading the temperature. I took a drink. "True," I said. "I have this weird quirk where I like to get it right once instead of wrong 5 times. Tessa tapped her phone. "He's adorable when he pretends, that's strategy." Hashtag guy laughed first. Then the others joined, like they were waiting for permission. Paige didn't. Mark didn't. I let it go another 15 minutes. Then I stood. "Bathroom," I said, and walked to the bar instead. I ordered waters for the table. When they came, I carried them back and set one in front of Tessa. She looked up, confused. "I didn't ask for water." "That one's mine," I told her. "Yours is the same. Tonight's a water night." Her eyes narrowed. "I'm fine. I know. I'm driving. And I'm not going to sit and get teased like a party trick and then be the chauffeur who smiles. So tonight we all take it easy and we keep our jokes clean." She stared at me. "You're kidding." Paige sipped. Mark scratched his jaw. "Not kidding," I said. "I'm changing the rules for me. If I'm a prop, I can find another table. Or we keep respect here, and I'll drive everyone home." Trent forced a laugh. "Whoa, big energy." Tessa smiled at him in that way that made men straighten. "He's just being careful." "He's very, very careful." I put my hand flat on the table. "That's my boundary, Tess. I'm staying and talking like adults, or I'm going home, and you can catch a ride." She held my stare. For a second I saw the old version of her, the one who was proud when I set limits. Then she softened her voice, almost sweet. "You're right. I got carried away. It was supposed to be light." "Good," I answered. "Then we're done with it." We were fine the rest of the night. On the way out, Paige fell in step with me. "You handled that clean," she said. "It's not complicated," I told her. "You let people know where the fence is." At home, Tessa put a hand on my back while I hung my jacket. "Sorry if I pushed too far," she murmured into my shoulder. "It's been dull lately. I like to keep things lively." "Lively's fine," I replied. "Disrespect isn't." She nodded like I'd given her a useful note for a project. We watched an episode of some home renovation nonsense and went to bed without another word. For a while, she was warmer. Breakfast coffee slid my way first. Texts in the afternoon. Little compliments about my shirt or the way I stacked wood by the fire pit. This was the first soft turn. It looked like effort. I didn't throw a parade. I clocked it as a tactic and gave it room to actually be change. 2 weeks later, she drifted back. Not a blowout. Just death by 1,000 hints. At a dinner with her sister, she raised her glass and smirked. Ethan could fix the sink quick, but he's in a committed relationship with the manual. Her sister laughed, too loud. Bless his heart. I reached for my napkin. I don't need a manual for a drain, I said easy. But I do need one for timing. Mine says not to fix things at 9 at night. Tessa shrugged, like I'd confirmed her theory. She changed the subject. After, in the car, I said, we're repeating this. I'm not here to be the punchline. She turned her face to the window. You're too sensitive lately. No, I told her. I'm just not numb. I was joking. You used to laugh. I used to ignore. She did the silent treatment for 2 days. Cold kitchen. Short phrases. I used the time. I moved our shared calendar off my phone and set it to read only. I split our checking into his and hers, plus one joint for fixed bills. I emailed Darren and Cindy to say we were taking a break from Sunday hangouts. No drama. Just structure. Tessa noticed on Thursday when her card pinged a decline on a boutique site. She marched into my office at home. My order didn't go through. I saw. I moved the budget over. Fixed expenses stay joint. Discretionary is separate. We both have freedom, and neither of us funds something that makes the other feel small. She folded her arms. You went behind my back. Not behind. Just ahead. It's routine. I sent you the spreadsheet. I don't need a spreadsheet to feel like a woman in my own house. You need a husband who isn't treated like the entertainment, I answered. Pick one. She stared. Is this punishment? This is alignment. I changed my availability for disrespect. She stepped closer. This is controlling. I shook my head. It's clarity. That night, she tried soft turn number 2. She cooked. She rarely cooked. She set the table, candles, and all like the cover of a magazine. When I sat, she touched my arm. I've been edgy. Work's boring. Life's predictable. I wanted fun. I went for jokes, and I overshot. Okay, I said. What's the plan going forward? She rolled the stem of her wine glass between her fingers. We make fun of each other sometimes, but we do it equal, and we don't leave bruises. That works. She smiled and leaned closer. Plus, I signed us up for that salsa class you wanted. She raised a hand before I could correct her that she was the one who brought up salsa once, not me. I know you'll say you didn't ask for it. I'm saying I'll do it with you anyway. That's effort. I nodded. Effort noted. For a week, she was sweetness. She stood with her back against the doorway watching me putter with a broken lawnmower. She made me tea, kissed my jaw when I left for the shop. We went to salsa. She teased me in a way that felt like flirting with me, not the room. I let myself breathe. I didn't drop my new boundaries. I just allowed that people can show up differently. Then it shifted again, quieter at first. We were at a housewarming for a couple from her gym. Bright kitchen, music a little too loud. Men congregated near the sliding door. I found a corner with Luis from my shop, who brought his husband and has the driest wit in the state. Tessa drifted around the room like a politician. I saw her lean over to a guy at the kitchen island, touch his sleeve, whisper something into his ear that made him grin. Nothing illegal, just the obvious theater of it. Later, while I was pulling a tray of appetizers out of the oven because apparently I'm everyone's emergency cook, she slid next to me and said in a voice for others to hear, "Careful, chef, don't burn your delicate hands." Luis raised an eyebrow. "We'll need those hands to fix my fence." "Don't worry," Tessa said, eyes on Luis. "He'll watch a tutorial." I set the tray down and turned the oven off. "Tess." She gave me that "oh relax" look and breezed into the living room. Luis watched her go, then looked at me. "You good?" he asked. "I'm awake," I said. "Wanna bounce?" "I've got one more tray," I told him. "Then I'm cutting our stay short." I found Tessa by the fireplace. "We're leaving in 10, I told her. "What? We just got here. We've been here 2 hours. She took a step back. "Don't be that guy, Ethan. The guy who doesn't stick around for his own roast." I tilted my head. "I'm leaving in 10. You can ride with me or text for a ride. Your call." She stared, calculating. 5 people nearby pretended not to listen. "I'll ride with you," she said, every word tight. We left. In the car, she kicked off her heels. "You made me look like I couldn't stay if I wanted to." "You can always stay," I answered. "But not as my spouse while you run a show like that." "Show like what?" "Like you need other eyes to stay interested," I said. "If you're bored, find a hobby. Don't turn me into one." She exhaled huge, like I was a slow student. You're taking things literal again. No, I said. I'm taking them serious. She laughed once. Fine. Be serious. I will be. Which means next time you look for attention by putting me down, I just step out. You can have the stage. I won't be on it. Is that a threat? It's a policy. After that, I cut Sunday loops with her friends, stopped showing up to places where the script was already written. I told Cindy and Darren I'd see them around, but we were resetting. I took an extra morning shift at the shop 2 days a week, which meant I wasn't home for her mid-morning social calls or last-minute brunches. She complained once. I said, schedules posted. Plan ahead. She didn't like that the world could run without her spontaneity. She responded with a counter. We're hosting a game night, she announced on a Thursday. Saturday, Cindy's bringing her favorite deck. Darren's bringing that cheese he likes. It'll be fun, light, no drama. I'm out Saturday, I replied, clicking through invoices. We're backing up cabinets at the shop. Clerk's out, and Mark needs another set of hands. She crossed her arms. You're ditching me? I'm not ditching anything. I'm choosing what respects me. That hasn't been game night lately. You're punishing me, Ethan. You love that word, I told her. If you want me there, keep it clean. Or host without me. She threw a dish towel at the counter, not at me. It slid off and hit the floor, and she left it there like a symbol. I stepped over it and grabbed my jacket. Saturday night, while she ran game night, I was at the shop with Mark, cutting plywood and telling him I was done being a prop. He listened like a man hearing something that clicks for him, too. You're not crazy, he said. Paige sees it. When you left early last time, Paige said she'd have walked out sooner. Good for her, I said. I'm done with early warnings. Next strike is final. You mean like final? I mean the papers are drafted, I told him. Not a threat. Just a plan. He whistled low. You did that already? Last Tuesday. I called an old friend who's now a mediator. Clean. Quiet. No drama. If she keeps making a show, I'll end it in a way she understands. Public clarity. He nodded. You're a calm man, Ethan. That's uncomfortable for some people. Not my problem anymore, I said. A week later, Tessa did her big turn. We were at a bar downtown for a going-away party for Cindy's cousin. Small place. Wooden stools. Low light. A jukebox that only played songs from before any of us were born. I drove. I always drive when I need my exits to be clean. Tessa put on a dress that announced itself. In the car, she dabbed perfume and said, we need this. We need to just be out and free and ourselves. I'll be myself, I said. You do what you do. The group was already 3 drinks in. We took a spot near the end of the bar. Nate, the bartender, nodded. He knows me from lunches with Mark. Tessa started decent. Held my hand. Laughed at Cindy's stories. 10 minutes later, she peeled away like gravity taught her a new trick. She slid into a gap near the bar and caught Nate's eye. He's a good kid, mid-30s, ring on his finger, works hard. She leaned in so he'd have to bend his head to hear. She touched his wrist to steady the drink that didn't need steadying and said something with that toss of hair she uses like punctuation. He laughed, polite. She kept going. Hand on his forearm. Compliment about his shirt. Too loud, so everyone could hear. Cindy whispered, do you see? I see, I said. Paige watched, jaw tight. Darren looked anywhere else. A couple of men at the end of the bar sucked their teeth. That sympathy we give strangers when we don't want to get involved. Tessa laughed too hard at whatever Nate said to deflect. Then she raised her voice a notch. You must get hit on all the time, she said to him. If I weren't married, this would be dangerous, right? Silence isn't quiet in a bar. It's a kind of attention. Heads turned. Nate looked uncomfortable. Tessa thrived on it. She angled her body just enough so I'd have a perfect view, like she was setting a scene for me to react. I stood. Walked out. Not storming. Just moving. In the car, I opened the glove compartment and pulled out the manila envelope I'd put there a week ago, filed and stamped. My name. Her name. Sign here, sign there. I looked at it once, checked the tabs, closed the envelope, and locked the car. When I stepped back into the bar, a couple of people went silent again like I was a bouncer checking IDs. I took my time crossing the room. I put a palm on the counter between Tessa and Nate, not touching her, not blocking anything. Just present. Sweetheart, I said calm. She turned with that bright spark in her eyes, the one that says she's winning. Don't start, Ethan, She cut me off, loud, projecting to her audience. It's just harmless flirting. I smiled. Then don't dramatize what comes next. I slid the envelope onto the bar. Just sign. The bar did not breathe. Nate's eyes went wide. Cindy's hand flew to her mouth. Darren whispered, "Oh man." Mark clapped once, then stopped, then clapped for real. 3 men near the jukebox started clapping slow, then faster. Women gasped. Somebody said, "No way." Tessa stared like the room had tilted. "What is this?" "Clarity," I said. "I already filed. Copies for you. It's straightforward. You don't owe me a performance." She grabbed the envelope, flipped it open, then looked up at me like she could bargain with gravity. "You're joking. You're making a point." "No," I answered. "I'm ending a pattern." She grabbed my forearm. "You can't be serious." "I am," I said. "I told you my policy." She raised her voice, high and sharp. "You want to leave me because I smiled at a bartender?" I shook my head. "I'm leaving because you've been building a show where I'm the punchline, and you bought tickets for all our friends. Enjoy the stage." She started throwing words, not language, insults, accusations, cheap lines about my age, my work, my carefulness. The men who'd clapped went quiet. Then 2 of them clapped again like they couldn't help it. Nate looked apologetic to me. I shrugged to tell him he didn't do anything wrong. I turned. I didn't run. I didn't argue. I walked out, got in my truck, and drove home. I parked. I went inside. I pulled 2 suitcases from the closet and loaded my clothes, my tools, the photo of my father that lives on the dresser, my watch, my passport, the spare keys. I took the cheap framed wedding photo off the bookshelf and set it face down in the office drawer. That part wasn't drama. It was an inventory of a life. 30 minutes later, a taxi screeched into the driveway. She barreled in without knocking, even though it's still her house too. She dropped her purse on the floor like a warning shot. "What was that?" she demanded. "You humiliated me." "You humiliated yourself," I replied. "I just gave the scene an ending." "You're not leaving." "I am," I said. "You've worked hard to make this marriage small. I won't fit in it anymore." She looked around at the suitcases. "We have years, Ethan. You don't throw that out because of a joke." "It wasn't a joke," I said. "It was a lifestyle. And you picked it on purpose. You kept telling me the rules were light, and I kept telling you they weren't. I'm done repeating myself." She marched to the kitchen. "You can't take the car. You can't take the account. You can't." "I'm taking my clothes." I cut in. "And my dignity. Accounts are split. The joint pays the mortgage and utilities until the paperwork finishes. You'll have to manage your extras yourself. Call your ride-alongs if you want company." Her eyes flashed. "You think you're better than everyone." "No," I said. "I think I'm better than what I allowed." She tried another tactic. Her voice softened. Eyes shone the way she knows makes men lean in. "I messed up," she said. "I have been stressed. I didn't mean to push you. Please don't do this tonight. Sleep on it. We can talk tomorrow." "I don't need sleep," I answered. "I gave this a year." "So you punish me now?" She shot back, snapping the soft turn closed. I zipped the suitcase. "No. I remove myself from a place I'm not respected. So that's it. You just go to a hotel." "Yes," I said. "I booked one on the way home." "That's so cold. That's so final." She followed me to the door. "Don't you dare make me look like the bad guy." I stopped with my hand on the knob. "You did that yourself," I told her, and opened the door. At the hotel, I texted Mark to say I was out. He said he'd be at the shop early if I wanted to meet. I slept. In the morning, my phone had 13 missed calls, 7 texts. The first 3 from Tessa were call me now, and we need to talk. The next 4 were lists of things I owed her. Apologies, a ride to some brunch, money for a weekend away she'd planned with friends. The last 3 were attempts at humor. "Remember, you can't assemble a dresser without me." She'd misread the room so badly, it was almost a relief. I put the phone face down and went to work. Monday she called my shop. Paige answered. "Paige doesn't tolerate nonsense." "He's with the client," she said. "Leave a message." Tessa tried the bank next. Found the account split. She texted, "I can't cover the HOA." Then, "Send your half plus the trips I booked." I laughed. I laughed out loud, which I hadn't done around her in a long time. The audacity was impressive, like watching someone try to push a car uphill with one hand and a shopping bag in the other. She came to the shop midweek. She walked in like she was inspecting a crime scene, peered around at the cabinets half-built, the sawdust and the light. We need to fix this, she said. There's nothing to fix, I answered. There's only moving forward. She pointed at my face. You don't call. You don't text. You're ignoring me like I don't exist. You exist, I said. Just not in my decisions. So you're done. I'm done, I answered. We'll coordinate the practical things through email. No more scenes. I have nothing left to discuss with you. Her jaw worked. Everyone's asking me what happened. Tell them I stopped starring in your jokes. She looked around again, maybe to find an ally. Luis stepped out from the back with a box of hinges. He gave her a polite nod and kept moving. She realized she had no audience, just reality. She left without slamming a door because there wasn't a door to slam. The papers went through in a routine way. She wanted to take more. She tried angles. Nothing stuck. There were no secrets in my life to exploit. I don't do secrets. I do schedules. The mediator kept it clean. She came out with half the savings and the sedan. I kept my tools in my truck and my peace. She texted the day it finalized. You're a heartless man. I answered, I'm a man with a spine. People sometimes expect fireworks in the epilogue. There weren't fireworks. There was relief. I found a small rental with a decent yard. Mark and Louise showed up with a grill, and we put it together without instructions, just to be obnoxious. The neighbors waved. One of them, Paula, 70 if she was a day, saw the grill and said, You're welcome on my porch if you bring ribs. I said, I'll bring ribs if you bring stories, and we made a date. Work picked up because I was focused. A new contractor found me through Mark, and suddenly half my week was custom-built tints. No drama, just measurements and sawdust. I bought a secondhand motorcycle because I'd wanted one since I was 25 and I was tired of putting off sensible joy. On Saturdays, I hiked with a group that meets at the trailhead and argues about which lunch meat is superior. I don't argue. I bring turkey and smile. Simple wins. A month after the final papers, I ran into Cindy at the grocery store. She stood by the freezer doors like she was thinking deeply about peas. We caught up. She apologized, not for Tessa, but for going along with the jokes. I didn't know what to do, she said. You don't have to apologize to me, I answered. You didn't marry me. She touched the glass with her fingertips. She's not doing great. I figured, I said. She keeps trying to get people on her side, Cindy went on. But people saw what happened. She's working part-time at a front desk, and she hates it. The condo association is on her case. She asked Darren and me to cover a couple of things, and we said no. It got tense. That's between you and her, I said. I'm good. Cindy studied me. You're really okay. I'm better than okay. 2 months after that, Paige set me up with her friend Nikki, who surprised me by being actually calm in person, not the internet version of herself. We had dinner, no theatrics. At one point she said, What's your rule? And I told her, respect is the only non-negotiable. The rest is logistics. She nodded like she understood English. Tessa called once more after that, on a random Tuesday. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was tight. You still need to pay your part of the storage unit, she said. And the dog walker. And the printer ink. I can't do this alone. I played the message twice, laughed again, loud and honest, then deleted it. We never had a dog. We never used a storage unit. I don't know if she was bluffing or mixing me up with her new circle. Either way, I didn't answer. I didn't explain. I didn't negotiate. Ignoring wasn't a tactic. It was finally the absence of noise. Sometimes, on a Sunday, I stand by my grill and think about that barbecue and that line about crayons. It's almost funny now. People signal who they are if you listen. I listened late, but I listened. I don't want to meddle. I don't want a lesson plan. I want peace and respect and the right to leave a party when the script turns ugly. I took that right back. Paula sits in my backyard and complains about the mailman who forgets to shut her gate. Luis brings his husband, and they argue about the correct height for a spice rack. Mark pretends he knows more about steak rubs than me, and I let him. Nikki leans on the porch rail and says, You're quiet, but you're not silent. And I say, There's a difference. We eat. We listen to the neighborhood dog chase a squirrel. We don't burn the chicken. I sleep well. I wake up at 5 because I want to, not because a text message tells me where to be. I don't check a shared calendar that's more about optics than plans. I don't have to deflect a joke aimed at my face so someone else can feel electric. I'm not performing. I'm living. If I see Tessa in town, I nod. That's all. I hear she's moved apartments twice. She's working at a clinic front desk, which would be honorable if she wasn't telling everyone how it's beneath her. The sedan needs work she can't afford. She asked Darren to help with a moving truck. He declined. She asked Cindy for a small loan. Cindy finally learned to say no. None of this makes me happy. It's just what happens when you invest everything in theater and the audience leaves. The only time I say her name out loud these days is when I tell this story, and even then I keep it short. People think the bar was the dramatic part. It wasn't. The dramatic part was how easy it felt to finally pick up my keys and step into a life where dignity wasn't a negotiation. I didn't slam a door. I didn't deliver a speech. I made a choice, then I acted. That's it. And yes, when she called to demand I pay for things I never agreed to, I laughed like a kid watching a magic trick where the magician pulls a rabbit out of a hat you can see into. Nerve like that is almost art. Almost. But I don't fund bad art anymore. I keep a copy of that signed envelope in my desk. Not because I want to relive it. Because sometimes, when a client tries to shift the scope without paying, or when a neighbor talks down to the electrician, I look at it and remember, I don't do shows. I do work, I do friendship, I do family. But only where respect lives. That's the whole thing. I'm not the hero. I'm the man who finally read the room and left the stage. And if you ever see me at a bar, I'll be the one who tips the bartender and thanks him for the water, then steps outside if the noise gets silly. Not a performance. A boundary, which is just another word for self-respect, the only instruction I need, no crayons required. Dear viewer, if you made it to the end, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.